This is your Frontline News with Lee Dawson and me, Warren Thornton. We will show conclusive proof that France were helping to set up command and control centres in Ukraine as far back as 2020. We will show French intelligence operatives going to Russia as early as 2018 to lay the groundwork for this. We will also show the other countries have been using soldiers in Ukraine, and NATO have been helping to remove them when injured or killed from the battlefield so that the Russians cannot identify who they are. We will also show that France, after the command and control centre that is still to this day kept under wraps on the 9th of May, that was hit, that France very, very quickly sent people to stop the flow of information coming out to various countries. Now, we will get into this as we go, but it is first important to remember when we talk about Niger, first of all, and the fact that France control their economy completely. In fact, they control 14 different countries through a monetary system called the CFA franc. Now, we have a company called Air, and it is a major company in the French version of Wall Street. Now, they are a nuclear company. Now, just in case you're in any of the dark about this, 30% plus of France's household uses the uranium deposits for their heating and lighting, and these come directly from Niger. 70% of France's economy is driven by nuclear power. They control the monetary system of 14 different countries. Now, you're going to hear lots of, Russia-backed coup and this, that, and the other. Nothing could be further from the truth. Macron has threatened sanctions against Niger. They have been stealing from Niger for many, many, many years. Now, this company, Arriver, even have their contracts with Niger totally top secret. You cannot see them. They are guarded with their lives. They are making money hand over fist while the people of Niger suffer. Now, what does this have to do with Ukraine and with Georgia, which are the two countries that France have been incredibly involved with? Well, not a great deal, apart from letting you know what the French are up to. And let's start straight away by telling you that the intelligence agency of France, and the Navy in particular, is in a place called Kiel in Paris, which is a hub of this intelligence service. So we're going to tell you now about some different officers. We're going to tell you who sent them. We're going to tell you when they were there, and we're going to tell you what they were doing there, so that you have all the information to your fingertips. Now, be in no doubt whatsoever, this is a world exclusive. Nobody else has what we have here. This is not only dangerous for the whistleblower, it is also dangerous for myself, so certain precautions have to be taken with this information afterwards. But it is important that you know what is going on. So we will go through it now, and hopefully you will understand. We'll go through it piece by piece. So what we have is in Kriel, the intelligence service, as I said, we have a Lieutenant Colonel, Heli Arnoux. Now, he's been a very busy boy. He's been to Ukraine 5 times, to Georgia and to Russia. Now, on the 15th of July, 2018, he went to brush up on his Russian, according to his mission. This was a mission given to him by the Office of the Intelligence Directorate, and he stayed there for 1 month. Now, nothing odd about that, you may say. He then stopped over in Georgia for a short while, and then on the 20th of January to the 10th of July, for 7 months, he was a temporary reinforcement abroad in Kiev, which was at the very start, the 20th of January, was when the first command and control centre for NATO was opened in Kiev. And there are 2 or 3 of these around the country. Now, I broke the story about the command and control centre being hit back on the 9th of May, and remember that date, it is important. I broke a story about this on the 9th of May, saying that the command and control centre had been hit with many NATO officers in, and there'd been many deaths. This was completely covered up. The mainstream media was stopped from reporting on this, and a blanket of secrecy was thrown around this, and it was only through embassy sources that we were able to find out what had gone on. Notoriously, some of the embassies that got to find out were Georgia, Germany and Poland, and we'll come back to that shortly. So, going on from there, Heli then on the 4th of October to the 7th of October 2021 goes for a work meeting in Kiev. Now, Heli, he likes to stay in various places, and he likes to frequent various restaurants that are known to be used by various contractors. Now, when we say contractors, that's just a nice term for mercenary soldiers. So we've got that as back as far as 2020. He then goes again on the 15th of November to the 18th of November, again for a work meeting in Kiev. Then we have on the 16th of January the following year, visiting Warsaw for 3 days, and on the 19th he travels to Kiev for 2 days for a bilateral meeting between Poland, Ukraine and the French. And this is signed off by his office again of the Intelligence Directorate. We also have then, and this is an important one, on the 23rd of August to the 30th of December 2022. He goes once again for reinforcement, temporary reinforcement abroad to Kiev. And this is signed, his order is signed by no less than Brigadier Kazala Arnoux, who is on the Joint Chief of Staff for the French military. Now, anybody who knows about Joint Chiefs of Staff knows how high up this guy is. This guy answers only to his top boss and the President of France. So the question has to be asked, how much did Macron know? If he did not know, then he's incompetent and shouldn't be in charge of the country. And if he is and did know what was going on, he needs to be brought to account. And so do the intelligence services of France. So let's get on with the rest of it. So then we have visiting Ukraine, Francois Paccard, who's the commander of intelligence on the 25th of Feb to the 25th of March 2022. Now, he's an assistant at CMAT. If you go and look at that, CEMAT, and this is to do, once again, with the Joint Chiefs and the military technical personnel. He's there once again for temporary reinforcement. Then at the last moment, he has his trip cancelled. And then we come on to Gaetan Popé, or Popé Gaetan, who's a lieutenant with crack. No, not that kind of crack. He belongs to the control and research analysis of cyberspace. So to you and me, internet, anything to do with electronic warfare. He goes very busily to Ukraine. He also goes to Dresden in Germany, and he goes to Radmino in Poland. And he goes officially as technical liaison. Now, on the 4th of June, he arrives in Germany. On the 5th of June, he arrives in Poland. On the 6th of June, he arrives in Ukraine. On the 10th of June, he goes back to Radmino in Poland. On the 11th of June, he goes back to Dresden in Germany. And on the 12th, he goes back to Kriel in Paris, the head of the intelligence services. He is accompanied on this trip by a gentleman called Jacques Michaud. So you have there two technical liaison cyberspace spooks going to 3 different countries in this time frame. Now, this is 2022, by the way. So what we have is crawling around these various command and control centres in various countries. So what we next have, and this is where we are going to tie it all together for you. So in Georgia, we now come to a gentleman called Christopher Condarel, and he is on the staff of the 785th Electronic Warfare. He turns up in Tbilisi, Georgia, with his commander, Guilherme. He does this on the 17th to the 21st of April 2023. And this is meant to be for technical purposes. And again, it's signed by Brigadier Kazala Anu, who is very, very high up in the intelligence services. Then we have the first of the possible NATO involvements. Joseph Weiland, a captain, flies from Ramstein Air Base in Germany on the 24th of May to the 27th of May to Georgia. Now he goes to a place in Georgia where he is part of MTT. Now these are mobile training teams. They basically, and normally, having been in the military, are to do with medical transportation. Now, what happens is it is common practice, if you do not know your military stuff, if you are sent to fight abroad in another country, a third country, which you shouldn't be in, then what happens is you will need, if you are injured or killed, your body or you will need to be flown to a hospital or a morgue, and you will need to be extradited or extricated from that country, and you will be gone, so that the country that you are fighting in cannot prove that you were actually there. And this happens one heck of a lot with mercenary soldiers. They are killed, they are flown out of there, so whoever they're fighting cannot prove that they were running around causing mayhem in their country. Now, let's speak about Joseph Weiland here, because his mission is stamped by NATO. NATO sent him, and the transport was provided by NATO, and it was signed off by Santa Cross Magali. So that is his. And then we get on to the bunker that nobody wants to talk about. And we'll talk about Andre Cyril, the Lieutenant Commander in the Navy. Now, he works for the organisation within the intelligence service of the CPOIA. Now, that is the Command for Inter-Armies Operations. So that should tell you everything you need to know. That's a conjunction with all sorts of different countries in making their operations run smoothly. He is accompanied by two gentlemen. The first one we'll come to now, Romain Quentin, who is a sergeant in the intelligence directorate in Creil in Paris. They go for a work meeting, and the order is signed by Brigadier Kazala Anu of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the French Forces. Now, they go for this meeting to Georgia on the 9th to the 12th of May. This is because there were Georgian military very much evident in this area. So then we now have that tie-in, that we have Georgian troops and Georgian armed forces in these NATO command and control centres. Now, how much did Macron know? Well, we're going to tell you about the other gentleman who accompanied him on this trip from the 9th of May, straight after the command and control centre was hit, till the 12th of May. And his name is Philip Grossmeier, and he is on the chief of staff of the French Navy. So he directly reports to the Joint Chief of Staff. So it is inconceivable that Macron did not know what was going on in his own intelligence services. So what we have is French intelligence services crawling around inside NATO command and control centres in 2020, and we have them crawling around there as well in 2022. We also have them meeting various mercenary soldiers. We also have the French intelligence services helping to remove Georgian fighters who were fighting, and we know they are fighting in Ukraine under a guise of being Ukrainian soldiers, being removed from the battlefield so that the Russians cannot prove that they were there. We have Joint Chiefs of Staff. We have a high-ranking Joint Chief of Staff Brigadier. We have Philip Grossmeier, Chief of Staff of the French Navy. So you have to ask the questions, and we have to look at what the narrative is. Now, the narrative is that NATO is not involved in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. That is now clearly a lie. It is also clear how much involvement France have in NATO and just how much clout they have. There is a joint operation there between NATO and the French intelligence to fly Joseph Weiland from Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany to arrange that with the Georgians. Now, I would like somebody from the French government to be able to explain what they were doing there and where they were, and the mercenaries that they were meeting, some of them who were once French foreign legionnaires. We have documentation to prove we can put them there at that time on those dates and those people. It will be interesting to see what the French government have to say about this.